Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're building RAG systems right now, you already know the deal. Getting a large language model to spit out text, that's the easy part. The real challenge, the absolute hardest part, is making sure that AI is actually correct, grounded, and, well, useful. Today, we're pulling directly from a really fantastic resource, Colin KS's RAG Interview Questions Hub, specifically digging into questions 103 through 105. We're going to unpack the two absolute most important metrics you need to evaluate your pipelines. Let's jump right in.
All right, picture this scenario from the source material. Imagine you've just built this beautiful, seamless RAG pipeline. A user asks a question, your system retrieves the perfect documents, and the generator crafts a really smooth response. But wait, there's a huge problem. Your AI confidently drops facts that are literally nowhere to be found in your retrieved context. It's essentially freestyling. So if your model starts confidently spouting facts it wasn't given, how do your evaluation metrics actually react? Do they catch the mistake, or do they just blindly wave the AI right through?
To answer that, let's look at our first metric, faithfulness. Think of faithfulness like a witness under oath in a courtroom. It is highly rigid and incredibly specific. This metric measures the exact proportion of claims in the AI's response that are strictly, unequivocally backed up by your retrieved context. If the AI generates unsupported claims, this score tanks immediately. Why? Because it just strictly checks the math. It takes the number of supported claims, divides it by the total claims made, and that's it. It doesn't care how beautifully written the answer is, or even if the made-up fact happens to be true out in the real world. It only cares if the AI stayed within the bounds of your documents.
Now let's flip the coin and look at our second metric. Response relevancy acts a bit more like a slick politician answering a question at a press conference. It's just computed as the ratio of relevant statements to the total number of statements. And here is the mind-blowing part. If the AI makes up facts out of thin air, the response relevancy score might not drop at all. It only drops if those ungrounded facts are entirely irrelevant to what the user actually asked. If the AI hallucinates a completely made-up answer that sounds perfectly aligned with the prompt, well, response relevancy will happily give it a high score. So what do the extremes of this metric actually mean for your system in the real world? Let's start with a perfect score of 1. A response relevancy score hitting 1 just means your system is doing an exceptional job aligning with the user's intent. It means the answer is highly focused, there's no weird tangents, no off-topic rambling. From a purely conversational standpoint, the AI is totally nailing the prompt. But, and this is a massive but, a 1 here does not guarantee the truth. It only guarantees that the AI understood the assignment.
On the flip side, a score zeroing out indicates the generator completely lost the plot. It means the system filled the answer with information totally unrelated to the question. Like if you ask your corporate bot for the Q3 revenue numbers and it starts generating a detailed recipe for chocolate cake, yeah, your response relevancy score hits 0. It's the ultimate measure of alignment, completely independent of factual accuracy. And this brilliantly highlights the core difference we need to grasp today. Faithfulness assesses factual consistency with the retrieved context. Response relevancy assesses how well the answer aligns with the user's query. Basically, faithfulness is your ruthless fact-checker, obsessively poring over your documents to kill hallucinations. Response relevancy? That's your conversational guide, making sure the AI isn't going off on unhelpful tangents. They're measuring two totally different but equally crucial dimensions of your system. Which brings us to a really vital question for any AI engineer designing these evaluations. Knowing what we now know about how these metrics behave, what are the severe risks of relying solely on response relevancy? I mean, if a highly relevant answer can still contain completely ungrounded facts, what's the actual fallout for our application if we only optimize for that one score? As the source explicitly warns, flying solo with response relevancy is a super dangerous game. Let's break it down. First, sure, it tells you the answer is relevant to the user, which feels great. But second, it completely fails to check if the answer is actually based on the retrieved context. And third, because of that massive blind spot, it misses factual errors and hallucinations entirely. This means you could literally be deploying a model that is perfectly answering questions with absolute lies. The user thinks they're getting a great answer because it sounds right, but under the hood, your AI is totally deceiving them.
So that brings us to the ultimate solution outlined by Colin KS, dual evaluation. You cannot just rely on one, you need a strict step-by-step approach. Step 1, check response relevancy to make sure the user's intent is actually being met. Step 2, verify faithfulness to the context to lock down the facts and ensure the AI isn't hallucinating. Step 3, deliver reliable, factual, and non-misleading outputs. By verifying relevance and then strictly enforcing factual context, you drastically slash the risk of misleading your users.
By the way, before we wrap up, I want to quickly highlight a fantastic resource mentioned in the source for those of you actually building these pipelines. If you're a data scientist or ML engineer looking to master this stuff, you should definitely check out the LLM Engineer Toolkit linked by the author. It's this curated repo of over 120 RAG and agent libraries broken down by category. If you want to actually put dual evaluation into practice, this toolkit is an absolute goldmine for finding the exact frameworks you need.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on when you evaluate your own pipelines today. Ask yourself, is your RAG system actually telling the truth, or is it just telling you exactly what you want to hear? Because without both of these metrics working together seamlessly, you might just have an incredibly polite AI that confidently lies to you. Don't fall into the relevancy trap, guys. Keep your systems faithful, keep them relevant, and keep building amazing things. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.